11 News at 10 starts now.
Thank you for joining us for KARE 11 News at 10. I'm Lauren Lemanchak, broadcasting from our sister station, WXIA in Atlanta. Now, as you may have seen, the transformer at our station in Golden Valley caught fire yesterday, forcing all of us out of the building and knocking us off the air. We'll get an update on that in just a minute. But first, let's get right to John Ziegler with the weather. A weather impact alert has just wrapped up tonight, John.
Yes, it has, and we're looking at actually a scene down here in St. Paul. Look at St. Paul here tonight. Actually looking pretty crisp out there. Beautiful shot. A little bit wet, a little bit damp from all of that rain. Still sitting at 73. Now, the dew points are still high, 69. Typically, I would call a 69-degree dew point very humid. But it was 75, 76. It was tropical, and the dew point is actually starting to drop. Now, that is going to lower our rain chances. We might not completely be done yet, but we're starting to wind down. Everybody started to cool off here. Current temps. Been watching these throughout the day. It was just in the 90s. Actually, 3 hours ago, La Crosse was at 105 for heat index. They've now dropped to 75. Storms have taken over here. If we're going to have storms, it would really be over the next hour. Mainly south metro is where we'll have the best chance. And you'll notice temperatures with that high moisture content, not really going to cool off. 72 degrees, still going to have the AC rolling. I don't really have any cool days in the forecast, but overall tonight is quiet. Now, if we see rain 5, maybe 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, it will be very light. So you're heading out to the 3M Open. I don't think you're expecting much rain. Now, here's current radar. Obviously, still a lot of rain, and some of this is going to start sneaking into areas like Waconia and Shakopee. So you're not completely done with it, but it'll graze you here over the next hour or two. Mankato, we had a tornado warning actually a few hours ago in Mankato. We cut in for that. And now we're looking at, again, the main threat, which has been flash flooding. We have a flash flood warning. So Mankato, especially because it's dark outside, please be cautious with that. This was just issued about 30, 45 minutes ago. So 4 to 6 inches of rain, maybe even isolated more than half a foot of rain has fallen, because I just saw an update there of red, which is actually over 6 inches. A lot of rain has fallen here. Still falling in Mankato, but we're starting to turn the page. We'll take a look at Thursday. We'll take a look at some pretty nice weather for the dog days of summer. And, of course, your 7-day forecast. Lauren?
All right, John, thank you. Well, tonight we know that many of you are wondering, where do things stand with our Golden Valley studios after that transformer fire that knocked us off the air and out of the building? Ken Erdahl is at our KARE 11 parking lot with an update.
This is what progress sounds like at KARE 11 today, thanks to a portable generator that's helping us try to get our critical systems back online as we get a new transformer right here installed. That's all, of course, because our old transformer, well, suffered a catastrophic failure yesterday just before 2 o'clock. I want to show you what that looks like. We had a huge explosion. We could hear the pops and see the smoke everywhere, and this is what's left of that transformer today. Now, the good news is that the fire itself, it didn't make its way inside the station, but smoke certainly did make it inside. You can see how our intake sucked up a lot of smoke. It went throughout the entire building. So today we're also working with ServPro to get that smoke out of there, get it to a place where staff is safe to be working inside. Of course, we've got all of you working out at the Telefarm at Shoreview, and there's even people in Atlanta to make all of this happen. All this to say that we don't know exactly when we'll be back inside the studio. We hope it's soon, but in the meantime, we'll make the most of it. We'll get things on the air, rain or shine. Back to you.
Tonight, 2 siblings are dead and their mother is injured after a shooting at a South Minneapolis apartment. This happened just before 1 a.m. Tuesday on East 59th Street. Chief Brian O'Hara called it a heartbreaking tragedy that destroyed a family. Raya Katene has the latest.
In a lively southwest Minneapolis neighborhood, 2 lives were lost in what police are calling a domestic-related shooting. A brother and sister were killed and a mother was injured just after midnight Tuesday on East 59th Street in what the Minneapolis police chief says is a heartbreaking tragedy that has destroyed a family.
It's incredibly heartbreaking.
Stacy Burke is a community advocacy supervisor with 360 Communities, an organization dedicated to preventing violence and offering safety and stability to families and individuals. When talking about domestic violence, Burke says violence involving family members can sometimes be overlooked.
One of the biggest things is that we have to be aware that this is happening, and this is happening in our community every single day, multiple times a day with different individuals.
Burke explains that unlike intimate partner violence, reports of familial-based violence aren't formally tracked in Minnesota, making it difficult to know exactly how prevalent it is.
We do know that we have had, unfortunately, some very deadly years in Minnesota recently in relation to domestic violence, which is a really concerning thing for us who are in this field and who are supporting people experiencing violence.
She says being there simply to support and listen to people experiencing violence goes a long way, and hopes that anyone who is experiencing it knows that help is out there.
What I would want to maybe say to people who are experiencing familial violence is reaching out for support is not condemning the person that's abusing you. So you're not having to condemn necessarily a family member or a loved one. So I would just really want people to be able to know that they don't have to do this alone, and that there are resources available.
Meanwhile, Minneapolis police say investigators are still working to determine exactly what led up to the shooting.
A tragic discovery this morning in Brownsville, Minnesota, where authorities say they found the body of a 22-year-old who went missing in La Crosse over the weekend. La Crosse police say the remains of Elliot Hines, a student at Viterbo University, were found around 10:30 this morning in the Mississippi River near Brownsville. Hines disappeared after leaving a bar in La Crosse around 3:30 a.m. Sunday. Police say an autopsy will reveal an official cause of death. A 16-year-old is behind bars right now in connection with the murder of an 11-year-old boy who was shot in a park in broad daylight last month. Amir Atkins died after being shot in Falwell Park on Minneapolis's north side. Police say the suspect was arrested yesterday morning in Apple Valley. The Minneapolis police chief says he hopes this arrest brings a sense of justice for Amir and his family. It is no surprise the healthcare industry is facing significant struggles, leading to dozens of hospital closures, particularly in rural areas. And as Jennifer Hoff reports, a new study from the University of Minnesota now shows how much more you'll have to pay for care, at the surviving hospitals nearby.
Healthcare across the country has long had problems the pandemic only highlighted, from high costs to staffing shortages, even forcing some hospitals to close. 16 in rural Minnesota alone since 2010, according to the Department of Health. And now new research finds not only does that limit access to care, but drives up prices at nearby hospitals.
They will pay more at the point of service to go to the hospital. So that's important because it hits people's pocketbooks directly.
U of M Professor Caitlin Carroll studies economics at the School of Public Health and found after a hospital closes, people will pay about $500 more at the ones that are still open, essentially giving those hospitals more leverage to negotiate with insurance companies and eliminate any lower price options.
I mean, what variables or data are you using to get those higher price points?
We use commercial claims data from the Healthcare Cost Institute. So these are claims from folks who have private insurance that they get through their job. We as researchers have access to a large database of those claims that we can use to measure the prices people are paying for the care they receive.
Carroll tracked prices at more than 160 hospitals for 10 years and says premiums will also likely increase. But even when hospitals have to close, there are long-lasting consequences.
All communities need access to some hospital care, even if they don't have access to a traditional full-service hospital.
Jennifer Hoff, KARE 11 News.
Now, there are new laws that make hospitals post prices, but websites can be hard to navigate, and often people just don't have the time to research if there's an emergency. State Senator Nicole Mitchell is set to be sentenced September 10th. A jury convicted Mitchell of burglary last week for breaking into her stepmother's home in Detroit Lakes in April of last year. Mitchell claimed she was checking on a family member with Alzheimer's, but on scene, she told police she was there to take sentimental items belonging to her late father. Mitchell said she would resign within 2 weeks. Tonight, the football offseason is officially over as the first day of Vikings training camp is now in the books. Julia Daniels has the highlights from TCO Performance Center in Eagan.
The first day of Vikings training camp always feels a little bit like the first day of school. Who will you see? Who's going to stand out? How's everyone going to look all together? One guy certainly happy to be back, head coach Kevin O'Connell.
Love the focus, the energy. Had some great meetings last night and just feel like getting on the grass. Hopefully, we'll see what the weather looks like here in a little bit. Would love to be outside.
Update, they weren't outside. An indoor day one of training camp. Certainly not how everyone pictured things playing out today, but that's not important. What's important is the guys were back, including a young and eager QB1, JJ McCarthy.
Just all the opportunities of growth. That's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. There's so many ways that you can get better in protections and reads and, reacting to what the defense is throwing at you in the pocket and, on the back end. There's just so many ways to improve going against this defense every day.
Speaking of the defense, one guy doing his best to make JJ as good as possible, Byron Murphy. The cornerback's coming off a career year and is hungry for more.
Very motivating. Obviously last year didn't end the season how we wanted to. Still got that chip on my shoulder. Like I said before, it was the same team. I believed in those guys last year like I believe in this team. I just feel like, this year's just definitely going to be special, and I can just feel it already.
Byron Murphy has echoed what so many Vikings have said recently. JJ McCarthy is fully embracing this brand new leadership role. Now, we wait and we see how it all pans out. We've got plenty of coverage coming your way right here on KARE 11 because training camp runs all the way through the preseason. In Eagan, Julia Daniels, KARE 11 Sports.
All eyes on JJ McCarthy. Well, still ahead here at 10, one of Minnesota's most celebrated chefs is expanding his culinary footprint. Plus, John's back with a check of the storms and some beautiful days ahead in your full forecast.
Prepare for your commute with CC Gaines on KARE 11 Sunrise.
The KARE 11 Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time.
Add a few minutes to your commute.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Still expecting 3 to 6 inches in here.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
It's going to be a busy day.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews.
Well, Governor, thank you for taking the time.
And exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KARE 11 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
There has been a lot of change in the Twin Cities restaurant scene, and one of Minnesota's most celebrated chefs is going through some changes of his own. James Beard Award winner Gavin Kaysen is now expanding his culinary footprint. He recently sat down with our Morgan Wolf to reflect on his career and what's next.
Chefs, 54 stress sides.
In the Twin Cities food scene, change is always on the menu.
We have our lamb sour right here. It's our pork chop.
But over the past decade,
yes, chef,
that food scene has grown.
It's really important.
And one Minnesotan has been a key ingredient in the recipe for success.
You see a lot of things that can go right and a lot of things that can go wrong. You learn from both.
I really feel that you have helped elevate the reputation of Minneapolis to the national level.
I think it's just because I'm loud.
Gavin Kaysen's culinary career began with a life-changing letter.
I wrote a letter to Danielle in 2005, Balud. That was definitely the turning point because it really just helped me get my PhD in this business.
He was just 27 when he became the executive chef for the legendary Balud. After helping that restaurant win a Michelin star in the Big Apple, he came home to the Mini Apple.
Came back to Minneapolis thinking like, oh, I'll just kind of like chill a little bit. And it's like, yeah, that didn't work at all.
Open a little restaurant.
See what happens.
Family.
Exactly.
And then boom.
Thank you, chef.
Spoon and Stable has become a beloved North Loop staple. It anchors Gavin's growing empire. Demi and Mara followed shortly afterwards, as well as a bakery, Bellacore, which Gavin is bringing back 2 full locations of Bellacore this fall. He's also opening his first restaurant outside of Minnesota. The Merchant Room will open at a new Four Seasons in Naples, Florida.
And when does it open again?
Also this fall.
Sir.
So 3 restaurants this fall.
And you tell me that you sleep.
His restaurants feed the city, but it's his mentorship that's fueling its future.
I've always said, and I genuinely believe this, like we're not competition against one another in this community. Like we are competitive against other cities. And the way that we attract talent is by having more opportunity for them and by having more opportunity to have more restaurants.
Several of his former chefs and managers, including Yia Vang, Diane Moa, and Adam and Jeannie Ritter, have gone on to receive recognition from the James Beard Awards
and the winner is
for their own restaurants.
I don't take any credit for what their success is. They've done it on their own. I think we just helped give them sort of this like stage to stand on to say like, you can do it.
Fire up C3.
And that silver lining in what seems to be a long line of recent restaurant closings.
You know, you look at why it's amazing. There are groups like the D'Amico brothers. Cafe Lorcat just announced its closing after 23 years, right? The lease is up. They're moving out. That happens. Every life lives its life through restaurants, and then at some point they end. But had they not created what they created, there are certain restaurateurs that maybe wouldn't have created what they created, such as Isaac Becker, who worked for them.
Yes.
Right? We're at an interesting place where it's sort of this changing of the guard right now, and you can see it and you can feel it, especially with them announcing that closure, like this new movement of happening. Now that means we have a responsibility to make sure that what we now create is set up for the next generation to make it even better than how we found it and how we leave it.
At the end of the day, Gavin is rooted in his family, the husband and father of 3. He measures success by purpose, not praise, seeing restaurants as places to nourish more than just appetite.
It takes one person to tell you that they believe in you.
Yes, chef.
Well, let's turn to weather now. John Ziegler is here in Atlanta with me, but he's been tracking the weather back at home all day long. We've been under a KARE 11 weather impact alert, which is just starting to end, John. And what I'm looking forward to, I know you're still tracking some storms. What I'm looking for is what happens beyond it. I'm looking forward to that.
Tomorrow, Friday. I mean, think how much rain we've had across not only Minnesota, northern Minnesota. You guys have been getting hammered. We get a break tonight. And the dew points actually drop. Now, it's actually beautiful out there across St. Paul right now. Great live shot there, 73. Now, the dew points, whether you believe it or not, they've actually come down quite a bit. 69 degrees is still very humid, but we were at 75 in the middle of the day. Temperatures have also started to come down. This is a sign of the changing of the guard here. We're going to see that high humidity, high moisture start to shift south. La Crosse was 105 today. Now, they're at, well, that's with the heat index. But they're at 75 right now. So you're not seeing as much of the boundaries that we saw maybe even an hour or two. If we see some rain here, it's going to be over the next hour or two. Looks like mainly South Metro, even Twin Cities, North Metro. I don't think we get much overnight. Look at some of this rain. Now, I know it's kind of a weird photo. Tilt your head with me here. This is Albany. Sarah got this photo of flash flooding. Now, we've had multiple warnings. In fact, we have one right now, and it's for Mankato. This one, to me, looks a little bit more elevated of a threat than what we saw in Coon Rapids. We had one in North Metro. We actually had 4 today. We had one in St. Cloud, and we had one in Bemidji early this morning. But this cell has really been hanging out in Mankato. Let's zoom in here. We'll go back and look at some of the totals in Mankato. But Jordan, Chaska, Waconia, Lakeville, we got a little bit of rain. You can see Northfield with some downpours. Getting down here towards Cannon Falls, Hastings, just some very light showers. We're really wrapping things up. Now to that rain. 4 to 6, I actually think that I'm starting to see 7. That's a problem. 7 inches of rain in a matter of 2 hours. Didn't rain all day. It held off until the very end. And now you've got 6-7 inches of rain. If you are traveling in this, please be very careful. Don't drive your car through high waters. Even if the water is half a foot, you don't drive through it. There is an ongoing flash flood warning for Mankato. Okay, let's go up towards the Minneapolis area. How much rain do we see in the metro? Well, the blue indicates about 1 to 3. Now, I did have a report earlier in the day out of Cologne in Carver County that was 2.83. So I like to get a report in there so I can confirm, because this is radar estimates. But you can see the metro. Most of us saw about 1 inch. Most of us actually ended up seeing 2. Other spots, St. Cloud getting poured on. Speaking of that photo, there's Albany at 4 to 6. And you saw that photo, and then you saw Mankato. And Mankato actually had higher amounts than what they saw in Albany. That's why I'm a little bit more concerned there. So as we track this out here, this is going to be over the next hour or two. It should continue to diminish. I can't rule out a passing shower, even in the metro, through 1 or 2 in the morning. Tomorrow morning, it looks pretty quiet. Waking up, pretty quiet drive. Most of that rain shifts down into Iowa. And if you got plans in the afternoon, you go to the 3M Open, whatever you're doing, looks great. Finally, some sunshine. I have isolated cells that want to move through Brainerd during the afternoon and evening. It's a 20% chance, but it is what I would call a mainly dry Thursday and Friday. The dew points have come down. They're still ridiculous. I'm not sitting here saying they're dry. It's super humid, but it was 78 in Menominee. This is what you're going to like. 70s, 60s, okay. Look at tomorrow morning, 63. It's actually going to feel dry for your Thursday, so we won't have a heat index value, or if we do, it'll be very low. Still 85 degrees what it's going to feel like. I'm not saying it's not hot. It is. We'll clear in some sunshine for your day tomorrow. As we go into the 7-day, it's isolated, 20%, mainly dry. A lot of sunshine in the afternoon on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, great days. Looks like the best chance for rain this entire weekend will actually come Sunday night into Monday morning.
When news breaks, watch KARE 11 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on KARE 11 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back. There are still 3 days to take in the Minneapolis Aquatennial, but tonight an iconic part of that event was canceled because of the weather. Things should clear up for all the other fun, though, including an arts market and the River Rats performance on the river, and of course the Target fireworks show. That's still on track for Saturday night. That's at 10 along the banks of the Mississippi on West River Parkway, right near the newly reopened Stone Arch Bridge.
In my opinion, this is a beautiful government plaza, our beautiful building behind us, and just hoping to engage and talk with residents today.
And speaking of the Aquatennial, before the rain today, people spent time outside at the Hennepin County Government Center for a resource fair. It was the first of many events happening throughout the summer festival. Sunny's Cafe also provided free ice cream and some live music. We'll be right back.
Make the switch to the morning team that's working for you. Make the switch to KARE 11 Sunrise.
Breaking news.
Traffic updates.
Weather impact alerts.
The stories that matter to you.
Start with KARE 11 Sunrise. Weekday mornings and streaming on KARE 11 Plus.
Welcome back to Las Vegas as we wrap up our coverage from the Big Ten Conference Media Days. PJ Fleck, hard to believe, heads into year 9 as head coach at Minnesota. He's a perfect 6-0 with the Gophers in bowl games, and he's guided the program to at least 8 wins in 4 of the last 6 seasons. As he turns his attention towards this season, he has his program thinking big.
There's 3 things we've hit on since January. It's be delusional, get to, and give more.
So what exactly does being delusional mean?
The be delusional part, it means no cap on the jar, no limitations, dreaming big. With the college football playoff of where it is, as Indiana showed last year, anybody can get there. And if we're delusional enough to know we can do that, we can get there.
Minnesota players certainly believe this group has what it takes to make the college football playoff.
I mean, just believe in if you believe in something, I mean, you can make it happen.
Be delusional. When I first heard about that, I was like, what does that mean? And then he explained it, just be delusional. Like, why not us? Like, why not a Minnesota team go to the CFP?
CFP, Big Ten championship. That's really the big goals for us.
The second thing is get to. There's 2 things that connect the locker room more than anything. It's empathy and gratitude.
Being so connected like this, I haven't seen a team like this before, and I'm so excited to go into the season with this.
As for the third theme, it's a focus on the margins in hopes of those being the difference makers in a schedule that features road trips to Berkeley, Columbus, Eugene, and Iowa City.
And the last part is give more. We were 8-5 last year. But the great thing about Minnesota now is when you're 8-5, you're like, yeah, all right. We got to continue to raise the expectations.
This team is very special, and I really love this team, both on and off the field, just based off our chemistry and how good I think each player is. We got more talent than we've ever had, more depth than we ever had, and I think we're going to have a really good year.
That's going to wrap up our coverage from the Big Ten Conference Media Days. Minnesota begins fall camp on Sunday. Their home opener against Buffalo less than 40 days away. Signing off from Las Vegas, Will Hall, KARE 11 Sports.
Well, talking about football makes you think of fall, but John Ziegler here with one last check of the weather. It feels very, very summer-like out there, and it's going to all weekend.
It is. Even tomorrow, your coolest day of the 7-day forecast. Now, we're in Atlanta, and when we got to Atlanta, even overnight yesterday, or I guess it was this morning, we were hotter in Minnesota than Atlanta, and I was like, wow, no wonder we're having storms. So tomorrow, our heat index is 86. That's the coolest day of the next 7. We're in the dog days of summer. It is what it is. 83. I've got a 20% chance here tomorrow. I don't expect much rain. I can't rule out a little drizzle in the morning because we're going to have a little bit of rain overnight. But we're not dealing with widespread washout rain anymore. We're done with that. Friday is a gem. make plans on Friday. Same with Saturday. Great weather over the weekend, but it will be hot. Storms possible Sunday night.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight at 10. We'll be back tomorrow for sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Have a good night, everyone.
Continue with us on KARE 11 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.